Alrighty. Let's go ahead and get into our quote. A short quote again from Miss Afra bin 89. I don't know if that's her lifespan, right? I think that's what I read every time, is the lifespan. Short life of Miss Afra bin. So this quote, before we jump into the next part of Judges here, says, "The soft, unhappy sex." This is from The Wandering Beauty. And I did put a winky face next to this line, this quote here. What was going through my mind as I was writing this? Deeply personal thoughts, of course. But let's go ahead and read it one more time. The soft, unhappy sex. And of course we could take this, the way I took it originally was intercourse, right? The soft, unhappy intercourse, or coitus, right? Coitus, is that a word? I think so, right? I tell you guys, every day is something new with me. Yeah, it is. All right, good thing. So, yeah. Right, I took it quite literally as I was writing it, hence the winky face next to it. But to go ahead and tie this into today's reading, we're going to take it as this soft, unhappy sex, being sex as in gender, so being the woman, right? The soft, right? The ones who are generally on edge or, not really fully satisfied or happy, right? We can kind of see women in this way. Of course, again, it is a pessimistic view to go ahead and view the other sex, as maybe soft or unhappy, but I can see how it's a thing, right? Because we had another quote talking about the purgatory that exists here on earth is just being a woman, and that was really thought-provoking. It was something that I don't really dive too deep into, because it's like, seems a little sexist to think about things like that, but in a way it is thought-provoking, and it makes me think, okay, well, if this is purgatory, what's next for us women is nothing but greatness, nothing but absolute greatness, right? It's our training ground for what's to come. But yes, we're talking about soft and unhappy sex, but in this reading here today, we are talking about Deborah. And I would say she is the opposite of soft, right? She might have these amazing feminine qualities, but she is very much a leader. She's very much without saying warlord, she's very just powerful, right? Driven with the mind, very driven. And here goes the landscapers. Let me maneuver once again. Let's see if the kitties will come inside. Just because I don't want to be shouting. My voice is soft. Come on, Bubba. Come on. Alright. Oh. Keep going. Oh. Now I'm stepping all over it. Come on, baby. Alright. Sorry, you guys. Doing this once again here. See if I can face the window. I prefer my face in the light, especially in the morning. Get some sunlight into my retinas and don't look so shadow casted. Alright, let's see. I don't even know. I'm not looking at my thumbnail, but let's see if you can. Alright, see me fine. And the desk. To do a little bit of cleaning. My mess. Okay. So, talking about Deborah, right? She very, very, very confident being. I would say she was very happy with her position. She was a prophet, right? One of the first recorded, if not the first formally recorded female prophet in the Bible. This is in the book of Judges here. So let us begin with chapter 4, and it reads, Again the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord, now that Ehud was dead. Now Deborah, a prophet, the wife of Lappidoth, was leading Israel at the time. She sent for Barak, son of Abinoam, from Kedesh in Naphtali, and said to him, "The Lord, the God of Israel, commands you, go take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun, and lead them up to Mount Tabor. I will lead Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops to the Kishon River. I give him into your hands." Sisera, meanwhile, fled on foot. Alright, let me actually pause, and then I'll get into this section, just to give you a little context. So, yes, we know she's a prophet. She's a leader of the Israelite tribe, actually being a prophet, right? Absolute leader. She asked for some assistance for this person, right? Son of Abinoam, Barak, from Kedesh in Naphtali, to go ahead and gather up troops. And essentially, he's like, okay, this is fine. I'll gather up troops for you, but you have to come with me. And she's like, without any hesitation, she's like, of course I'll go with you. Of course I'll go with you. Part of her prophecy and what she intends to do is like, this is where Israel is delivered by the hands of a woman, right? It will be me that is the deliverer. So she actually is pronounced on helping Barak. She's not just giving instructions, right? So let's go ahead and go on here. So they're trying to capture Sisera. I did skip a little bit, but you can always go back and read. It says, Sisera, meanwhile, fled on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, because there was an alliance between Jabin, king of Hazor, and the family of Herber the Kenite. So you see the relation. So they're actually going, the king that they're after took refuge in another Israelite's section, right? Because there was some sort of an alliance. But Jael, Heber's wife, picked up a tent peg and a hammer and went quietly to him while he lay fast asleep, exhausted. She drove the peg through his temple into the ground, and he died. On that day, God subdued Jabin, king of Canaan, before the Israelites, and the hand of the Israelites pressed harder and harder against Jabin, king of Canaan, until they destroyed him. So, pause. We're gonna, talk about something real quick, because it's the first time the thought has entered my mind after I read this line. Several times, actually. She drove the peg through his temple into the ground and died. So wait a minute, that is pretty violent, and it struck a chord. Funny enough to say, because I am a woman, or not because I am a woman, but I am a woman, but because she was a woman. So why did that strike such a chord with me? And it had me thinking, I'm like, wait a minute. If the 10 Commandments say, do not kill, thou shalt not kill, right? Why is there all this killing? And now I'm thinking, well, I'm triggered because it was a woman who committed this murder, right? But now I'm thinking of all the other killing that has taken place thus far. I had not thought of it like that before. I just thought of it as death and destruction. But I mean, like, this is, like, it seems aggressive, right? So sexist, right? It just goes to show you that, like, we've come a long ways, but not really. Like, things haven't really changed too much in our thought processes, but try to catch ourselves, right, and at least be open to certain things. But I'll give you a good explanation, because the answer came right like that. I actually did do a little bit of research on some religious theory and theological theory. So let me just go ahead and clarify here that the original translation of the 10 Commandments, it did not necessarily say thou shalt not kill, because killing is very, very different than murder. The original translation of thou shalt not kill was actually thou shalt not murder, right? Or thou shalt not commit murder. So with that, let's go ahead and read the definition of murder. It says, the unlawful, premeditated killing of one human being by another. And then again, as a verb, to kill someone unlawfully and with premeditation. So, thinking about that, do you think Jael, the woman who drove the stake into this head, do you think that was premeditated? I don't even think she knew that she was coming. Because if you do read in this chapter with the context, he came in the tent abruptly, and she put a blanket over him to cover him and protect him, because she really wasn't expecting it. She's like, whoa, why are you here? So no, it was not premeditated. And do you agree that this was unlawful, right? They were literally at war with this individual, so no, it's not technically unlawful at all. So that's something to think about, right? If the Ten Commandments say thou shalt not murder, that's different than killing, right? And I think we often forget and become misconstrued. I feel as though it's still good to not kill anybody as well, because we'll go ahead and read the definition. It says to cause the death of a person, animal, or other living thing, or put an end to cause the failure or defeat of something, like in the instance of war or something like that, right? And then again, as a noun, an act of killing, especially of one animal by another. Interesting. So of course it's good to restrain from this type of violence, right? Or but sometimes it is just the nature of things. It's the nature of a situation. It can be self-defense. It can be an act of necessity. And then throughout all this time, we've been talking about battle after battle. So again, I think it was just good to go over that differentiation, just so we're not passing too harsh a judgment on this section of the Bible. It is so craziness and death heavy. So at least we have that in our hearts. Okay. So noisy. I'm so sorry, you guys. I don't like shouting. And my back is killing me. All right. It says, here, you can see Big Boy for a second. Big Boy. Let baby go. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and continue here. Okay. So they destroyed Canaan. They pressed against Canaan until they destroyed Jabin, the king of Canaan. On that day, Deborah and Barak, son of Abinoam, sang the song. Villagers in Israel would not fight. They held back until I, Deborah, arose. Until I arose, a mother in Israel. Gilead stayed beyond the Jordan. And Dan, why did he linger by the ships? Asher remained on the coast, and stayed in his coves. The people of Zebulun risked their very lives. So did Naphtali on the terraced fields. Most blessed woman be Jael, the wife of Herber the Kenite, the most blessed of tent-dwelling women. At her feet he sank, he fell. There he lay. At her feet he sank, he fell. Where he sank, there he fell, dead. Alright, so that's a great song. It's longer if you read the text here in Judges, but I did take out the pertinent information here. So we have a synopsis of what took place without having to go back and read everything here. Saying Deborah stepped up. She was the only leader. She was the prophet of Israel. She was the only leader that stepped up and said, okay, we need to do something. Now is the time. Gilead did not do anything. And Dan, they did not do anything. Asher, no, they did not do anything. So something that we've noticed, or I've noticed at least, is Naphtali. The tribe of Naphtali has always been really proactive in protecting the Israelite clans. And I have a certain spiritual relation, I think, to Naphtali, without getting too crazy here. But just the name, for some reason, as I read it, it just sounded super, super familiar to me, but I had no idea where I had seen it or where I had read it before. Thinking about it, I think I did connect to it somehow. I thought it would be maybe when I was reading the Bible, like a year ago or whatever, 2 years ago. Maybe I was thinking it would be a cute girl's name. It's possible. Okay, it's possible that I had some kind of like, not affliction, but I'm not. You guys know I'm exhausted. Okay, I'm so sorry, but you know what? Affinity, right? I had some kind of weird affinity with the name. I thought it was a pretty name. Maybe that was it, but not to toot my own horn. Naphtali is cool. Naphtali, the tribe of Naphtali, has always stepped up in battle to protect the Israelites, to defend the Israelites. In the last story that we read about, they actually joined in helping. Now I have to go back and look. This is just where the mind has gone. Okay, yep. We're going over. Okay, alright. So actually, I think Naphtali steps up again in the future. I did record. Now I think I have to go back out here. They're making their rounds. Anyways, I did record the next journey and the next battle yesterday, so I think I was getting confused. So I wrote something down about this for tomorrow or the next day, I forget, but just ignore me in this moment. I'm so sorry. But anyways, Deborah steps up. She gathers Naphtali, knowing that they're a vigilant tribe, right? And of course the people of Zebulun were also very vigilant. And then we talk about Jael. Yes, most blessed. She really put an end to basically the whole thing. She killed the one who was fleeing, the king. He was another ruler, a king, right? Alright. Or he was actually the commander of Jabin, the king's army. Got it. Okay. But crazy, right? Right. It's just so cool to hear about women leaders. Yes. We kind of just, take it not for granted when we talk about the men leading and killing, but when the women step up, it's like, okay, wow, this is serious. That's exactly the thought I had. I'm like, this is serious. This is like, okay, they're really defending their faith and their belief in their Lord. Truly, fighting for their Lord. So it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. Don't get too hung up on the killing and murder thing. Just know that there is a difference. And like I said, each deed, in my introduction, each deed has weight, right? It has weight, it has an effect, it has a precursor and an after effect. It has a cause and effect. So it's weighted based off of those variants as well. It can't just be the deed itself oftentimes, because we would be very harshly judged if it was just the deed itself. So let's take a breath, you guys. Have a good day. Thank you for listening to my rambling exhaustion. Air Force Spence. The landscapers are outside. You need to stay inside for a second. Alright, peace out, you guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.